Hello, this is Pastor Al, and this is How to Ace the Interview. When you have a resume, the best way to get interviews is to have education and experience that matches the job description on your resume, on the first page of your resume. And then after some phone interviews, you start to get in-person interviews, and when you go on the interview, they're not that much interested in your education as they are your personality. And they're going to ask you direct questions about the job to see if you can do the work, but they're going to ask you questions to see if you'll fit in on a team. And sometimes they'll ask you questions like, how do you work with employees that are demanding in other departments? Or how do you deal with stress if you're given a lot of different things all to do all at once? And so 50% of your chance to get the job depends on your ability to do the job, the actual technical questions about the job, whether it's inventory or purchasing or accounting, whatever it is. And 50% of your chance to get the job depends on your personality match. They're going to see if you're nice and friendly, and you want to overdo it in the resume, in the interview. You want to say, Sir and Mr. Smith and Mrs. Adams, and you want to be very polite and courteous. And if you need to talk a lot about some of your achievements, you might want to say, I don't normally talk so much, but this is an interview and I need to tell you what I know. And be nice and personable and shake their hands and laugh with them and try and talk about your strengths and don't play up your weaknesses. If they ask you what are your weaknesses, you don't want to tell them things that you're weak in, because it'll make you look really bad. You want to tell them things like, I have the problem where I work too hard and I get too engrossed in my work, or I find it very difficult when my manager asks me who to decide to lay off. I really don't like to have to lay off friends. And don't talk about your weaknesses or they won't hire you. That's just the way it is. And the first 11 years that I was out there working, I was being taken advantage of because I used to stutter and I had poor writing skills, and I found it very difficult to get through the interviews. But as I was being taken advantage of, I started to spend more time preparing questions and studying the interviewing process and mentoring others. And I found out the worst thing you can say in an interview is to say that you want more money. If they ask you how much you want to make, you tell them that you're open, and if they really pressure you, you say, well, I haven't really thought about it. You're going to have to let me call you back and let you know. And don't try and look that you're changing for more money. Also, I was being so much taken advantage of that I did this. I got an offer for more pay at another company, and then I went back to the company that I was working for, and I negotiated with them to bring my salary up higher. That way I didn't have very many job switches on my resume, and it made me more marketable for the future, and it pushed my salary up much faster. And if you switch jobs too much, it doesn't make you marketable. They'll ask you direct questions about the job, but they'll also ask you open-ended questions. People in human resources, they don't really understand every single position in the company, but they will ask you open-ended questions about your personality and your motives, like why do you want to work for us, or where do you see yourself in 5 years, or tell me some of your accomplishments. And they'll ask you a lot of open-ended questions to see if you ramble around. If you ramble around too much, they'll think that you might be a little emotionally unstable. But if you have well-prepared answers and you speak positively and confidently, that comes across very good. And it's very important that you research what's current in the marketplace. As you go on more than one interview, then you'll be able to answer those questions much better. And some of the questions that they'll ask you are, how do you deal with employees that are hard to get along with? And you want to say that you try and focus in on what the company needs, and you don't get involved too much in the politics. And they'll ask you, why are you looking? And you might want to say that you've learned a lot at the company you're at, and you're underutilized, and you want more of a challenge. That's a good answer. And if they ask you how much you're making, you can tell them how much you're making, and tell them that you're working for a stable company with good benefits, and they know that they're going to have to give you more money to get you to switch. Again, if they ask you how much you want to make, just leave it open. Don't tell them a specific amount, because usually they will that will look bad. If you say too little, they'll think that maybe you're not capable to do the job. If you ask for too much, they'll think you're just money hungry and they won't hire you. And when they ask you what you can do, you need to have well prepared achievements that you've done at your previous shops. Maybe you can bring some letters of reference or some achievements that you've done, some printouts. And if they ask you if you're willing to relocate, you have to say that you're willing. And another good thing is to apply for jobs that have good net profits, that are making money. If you apply for typically the airlines, the auto manufacturers, and grocery supermarkets, the unions, it looks like they pay a lot with a union, but actually those jobs can be very difficult on the body if you're standing on your feet 8 to 10 hours a day, like during vacations, holidays. That can be very taxing on the body. So I hope this has been of benefit to you. This has been Pastor Al. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.